spend so much time, almost a ridiculous amount of time, obsessing over persuasion. We stress about the perfect ad copy, the perfect sales pitch, but there's this idea that keeps popping up, and it's so counterintuitive. Modern trust. It isn't really built on persuasion at all. It's built on familiarity.
It is. It's the mere exposure effect, right? I
Yeah.
mean, think about it. It's the difference between a total stranger knocking on your door trying to sell you a watch and a friend who just happens to mention one they love.
Totally different feeling.
Completely. So if a brand wants to be trusted today, they can't just parachute in when they want a sale. They need to be a regular, a consistent voice in your ear.
Which, okay, that brings us right to the corporate podcast, but I have
Yeah.
to play devil's advocate for a second.
Please do.
Because usually when people talk about this, it all gets very fluffy, giving the brand a personality, peeking
Yeah.
behind the curtains. Is there an actual business case here, or is this just a vanity project?
The vibes are real.
Yeah.
I mean, humanizing a brand is absolutely essential, but you're right, a CFO isn't going to sign a check for fives.
Exactly.
The real argument is all about efficiency. You have to stop thinking of a video podcast as just content. It's not. You need to start seeing it as a relationship engine.
Okay, you're talking about the repurposing pipeline idea.
I am. That is the operational unlock.
Yeah.
Look, you sit down for one 45-minute conversation. That's it. That's your source code.
Right.
And from that single video file, you can extract, say, 8 to 12 vertical clips for social media.
For TikTok, LinkedIn, all that.
All of it. Then you transcribe it for a blog post, you write a newsletter from the key points, and of course you get the audio for the podcast apps.
So you're not just shouting into the void, you're building a whole marketing supply chain.
A supply chain.
Yeah.
But, and this is the big but, this is where companies fail.
Yeah.
You actually have to execute on it.
It's a lot of work.
It's incredibly labor intensive. And that's why you see these infrastructure partners like Tim Africa becoming so critical. A brand might have the big strategy, but they almost never have the internal bandwidth to, edit 12 clips and manage all that distribution.
So you need a partner to take that raw recording and actually turn it into an asset. Otherwise, it just, sits on a hard drive somewhere?
It dies on a hard drive. Exactly.
Okay, so let's get into who's actually nailing this. The specific examples are, I think, what makes this real. And it's not just media companies. Look at a sports team like Manchester City.
Oh, they're a perfect example. Because they solved the off-season problem. Think about it. The official Man City podcast. It isn't really about the 90-minute match. It's about the club's history, the players' stories, the coaches.
It deepens the loyalty. It keeps you engaged when there isn't even a game on.
Precisely. It keeps the connection alive.
That makes a ton of sense for sports or, lifestyle brands. I mean, you see Nike with Train, where they position themselves as this fitness authority.
Or Patagonia. Their whole podcast is about environmental stories, their values.
Right. But what about the boring stuff? Does this really work for B2B? For complex tech?
I would argue it works even better there.
Really?
Yeah. Look at Shopify. Their show, Shopify Masters, it's all about entrepreneurs sharing their real struggles and their wins. It very subtly positions Shopify not as just a tool you pay for, but as a partner in your growth.
Like they're in the trenches with you.
Yes. Or look at the real heavy hitter example, the McKinsey podcast.
Okay, that's top tier consulting.
Right. And they use their own experts to just explain complex strategy. Now think about how efficient that is. When a potential client finally calls McKinsey, they often arrive pre-educated.
They already trust the expertise because they've been listening to it for hours.
You got it. The trust is already built.
So the common thread here, whether it's soccer or strategy consulting, it really seems to be consistency. You just can't ghost your audience.
Consistency is the absolute killer. And again, this brings us right back to that infrastructure problem. If you try to do all the editing, the sound engineering, the clips, all of it in-house, you will burn out.
In like a month.
A month, maybe two. That's why agencies like Tim Africa exist. They handle all that remote production, all the boring work, specifically so the brand can just focus on the message without getting fatigued.
All right, let's talk hard numbers. We promised some ROI. Is there actual data here, or is this all just anecdotal?
Oh yeah, we're moving from vibes to spreadsheets now. Yeah. The data suggests that podcasts can lead to 25, that's 25, times more conversions than blog posts.
25 times. That is a huge difference.
It is, and branded podcasts can boost awareness by nearly 89%.
So where does that massive lift come from?
It's all about attention span. A blog post gets what? A skim, 30 seconds. A podcast gets binged. When a listener spends 2-3 hours with your brand's voice, they move from being A passive audience member to an active prospect.
And when they're finally ready to buy something or make a decision, you're the default choice.
You're the only choice they've been thinking about. Precisely. But you have to track it. Success isn't just about download numbers. It's about connecting those downloads to actual inquiries. That performance marketing layer, actually proving the ROI with dashboards and data, that's a huge focus for a partner like Tim Africa. It stops the podcast from being a vanity project and makes it a real revenue line.
So if I'm a leader at a company, the goal is pretty simple then. It's to stop explaining myself from scratch every single time I walk into a room.
Become the familiar voice. Become the expert before you even meet them.
I really like this idea I heard of a pilot season. Don't commit to forever. Just record a tight run of, say, 6 episodes addressing the biggest myths or misconceptions in your industry.
It's the lowest risk way to start. You're not promising the world. You're just building that first foundational asset.
And if you actually want to build that engine, the whole thing, from recording in the studio to all the repurposing and the analytics, you really should connect with Tim Africa. You can find them at tim.africa.
Or at tim.africa on most social channels. It's genuinely the best way to turn all that expertise you have locked in your head into a tangible business asset.
A great way to put it. And on that note, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening.
To pitches, here we go. Ideas fast, body flow. Catch the vibe, catch the spark. Light it up, ignite the dark. Tip pitches, with a bigger idea, switches. Podcasters, turn to the marketing riches. Plug it in, turn it loud. Build your brand, make it proud. Pitch it high, pitch it sweet. Performance game, can't be beat.